Hi everyone, I hope you're all having a great week. This week I'm feeling inspired to create an intuitive abstract landscape. I'll be using watercolors to start off, and then when I'm feeling happy with my watercolor background, I'll move on to using other mixed media to finish off my landscape. I'm going to create 3 sets of mountains in my landscape, and to create them I'm going to use just one color, and I'm going to practice blending that one color into a faded lighter color as I move down the paper. In order to fade my color into a lighter color, I'm going to be needing to use some clear water. So I start off by applying my color, and then I clean my brush on my paper towel, and I come in with some water and I start to blend that down. If I kept the brush with the same amount of paint, it would just be the same uniform color all the way down to the next line. And I really want it to be a more blended, faded look. So that's why I'm wiping my brush in between my applications of the color. And in order to make the blending or the fading more apparent, it's important that I do clean my brush and use clear water as I go down. I really love this combination of the Pyrrole Scarlet along with the Phthalo Turquoise. But I do feel like my sky could use a little bit more brightening up, I guess. So I'm going to come in with a very, very light wash of nickel azo yellow. And I'm not going to go over the whole entire sky. I'm just sort of going to go around what I'm calling my sun. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of it to the top part of my painting. While I continue to work on my background for this painting, I want to take some time to talk about something important relating to my channel. I may or may not have mentioned in the past that my vision for this channel is that it be a safe and zen place where creatives can gather to learn and connect with each other. In order to create this type of environment, I feel that it's important that I mention some of my values. For me, communication that fosters a safe and zen creative environment is respectful, encouraging, constructive, and helpful. Even though none of us here know each other very well, we are very much in relationship with one another. And for the most part, I can honestly say that the comments and communication I have experienced with most people who are watching my videos has been very positive, encouraging. I would even say very helpful. I have received, comments that at times were not maybe necessarily in agreement with some of the things that I was sharing, but when the comments are formulated in a way that is constructive and helpful and also respectful and caring, I am very open to hearing them. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I really do love connecting with you all. It's one of the reasons why I continue to do what I do here on YouTube. Every once in a while, however, I receive comments that to me seem not so constructive or helpful. And so I've decided to speak up because I think it's important for me to set a clear, healthy boundary that I will not be spending any time replying to any messages that do not seem constructive, that do not seem respectful or helpful. I'm saying all of this with the awareness that most, if not all, of the people listening to me speaking right now are probably very respectful, very helpful and encouraging, and when you offer me comments, they are usually very constructive. Thank you so much for continuing to engage with me in such a positive and nourishing manner. Communication is hard and no one gets it right all the time. Certainly not me. But it is my nature to try to speak respectfully with people and to be encouraging of other creative people. And this is what I want to foster on this channel. Many people, including me, have wounds associated to their creativity. Healing from those wounds is a process that requires compassion, empathy, encouragement, and constructive, quote-unquote, criticism. Is it just me, or do the words constructive and criticism in the same sentence seem a little paradoxical? Anyhow. Often those who criticize, especially when they do so maliciously, are projecting their own wounds on other people. It is normal for all of us to have wounds of some kind. It's a very normal part of life, and in many ways, those wounds help us grow to become the people we want to be. Compassion for one another and setting healthy boundaries in our relationships are some of the ways we can heal from our wounds. And so, I hope the information I'm sharing is perceived as coming from a place of love, compassion, and empathy. It is definitely not my intention to attack anyone. My goal is simply to bring awareness to the types of communication that can result in conflict in relationships. I offer this information as a reminder to myself and to you, because I'm sure I'm not the only person on this planet who's ever encountered malicious criticism. And I really sincerely want us to be in a safe environment. I want this channel to be a place where we can connect and we can learn together. And I also want this channel to be a place where we can all get a temporary escape from all the tougher challenges of life. And there are a lot of things going on in the world. I'm not in denial of that. I am very aware of that. But we all need to have places where we can feel safe and we can feel that where we can just be. In order to keep communication more light and enjoyable, I have deleted and I will continue to delete any comments that I consider to be trolling, insults, or spam. I will go ahead and delete that stuff. This is really not the kind of stuff that I like to bring up in my videos because, like I said, I want to keep my videos more light and enjoyable. I want this to be a place where you can feel relaxed and zen. But I do feel a need to speak up when I see things happening that I don't feel are contributing to that. And so that's why I brought up the topic. And I appreciate you making the time to listen. Alrighty, I have said my piece and I'm ready to get back to the painting. So I've moved on to using my pens to start creating some little details in the painting that I find will add some visual interest. I am working only with black pens and a white pen. I only have that one white pen that I'm using. The ink is not completely opaque against the background, the watercolor background, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. And I am going to come back with some gold at a later point in this video to start adding some other details as well. So I think as it goes along, as I'm painting intuitively, the details will start to come together and it'll all feel more cohesive. Usually this would be the point in time in my video where I would pull out my star gold, and I was very tempted to use it in this painting, but I feel like another iridescent gold that I have in my palette called Gold Pearl will work better with my color palette, and it's equally, well, okay, maybe I don't find it equally as beautiful as star gold, but it is very beautiful and I do really love it. And so I'm going to add some around my sun, and I'm going to start to bring some of that gold pearl down into the lower portion of the painting as well. When I want to apply a very faint, slim line of paint to a painting, I love to work with my micro mini brush. And as I'm applying the paint, I am just barely skimming the surface of the painting with the tip of my brush. In this part of my process, I'm going to be using crochet needles that have a very rounded, blunt tip to add some little circles, or yeah, I guess circles, to my painting. And I'm going to use 2 of them in 2 different sizes. Whatever you have on hand, if for instance you had chopsticks, they usually have a round tip. Things like that can work quite well. You can even use an eraser, like an eraser on a pencil. That kind of tip will actually create some really nice circles as well. At this point, I'm feeling really satisfied with the amount of gold and black that I have added to my painting, but I don't feel like there's enough white. I did add those white dots in the bottom part of my painting, and I feel like I need to spread some of that white a little bit more into the painting to keep things more cohesive. Okay, I guess I lied. I want to add a little bit of black, especially around the sun, because the top portion of the painting in comparison to the bottom portion of the painting right now seems very light. I love the sun, I love how it's looking, but I need to add a little bit more black. And so I'm gonna sort of continue to work with the theme of those little dots, and I'm gonna add some dots in between my sun's rays, or the circles around my sun, whatever you want to call them. And then we'll see. I'm also feeling tempted to add some dark or some maybe black stripes, like vertical lines in the middle of my sun, but I'm going to hold off for now. What I will do, however, is use my fine tip black pen to add little swirly lines that are gonna be somewhat reminiscent of clouds, abstract clouds, but very simple. That's usually always very key for me, is to keep things as simple as possible. So this for me is a very simple way of creating whimsical little abstract clouds. I've removed the tape from my paper and I'm moving in for a closer look. I like the overall composition, but I do feel like my sun needs a little bit more dark contrast in the middle of it. So I'm going to come in and add some stippling, and I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. Now my painting is feeling a lot more complete. I've had a lot of fun creating this little painting, and I hope that watching this process can inspire you to pick up your paintbrush and give it a try as well. Thank you so much for making the time to join me on this journey. I hope you have a wonderful week and happy creating!